In the Money is made possible by financial support from Old National Bank and Chicagoans like you.
Good evening, Chicago, and welcome to In the Money. I'm your host, Tamara Dervin. There's a quote that says, "Small leaks sink ships." And in today's economy, those leaks can look like higher grocery bills, rising rents, increased utility costs, higher insurance, and everyday expenses quietly eating away at your budget month after month. Now listen, this season we've talked about getting out of debt, saving, investing, planning for college, preparing for retirement, and building wealth. But I know for many of you watching, you may be thinking, Tamara, I hear all of that, but honestly, I'm just trying to keep up right now. Prices seem higher everywhere we go. And for many families, incomes simply are not increasing at the same pace as the cost of living. And the truth is, people are feeling it. The grocery store feels different. Housing feels different. Stretching a paycheck feels different. Even financially responsible people are having to rethink spending, adjust priorities, and make harder financial decisions than they did just a few years ago. That's why tonight's conversation is so important. Tonight is not about shame, fear, or pretending things aren't challenging. It's about strategy. It's about learning how to navigate the current economy with wisdom, discipline, and practical tools so you can continue moving forward financially, even if the progress feels slower right now. Because financial progress is not about how much money you make, it's about how you manage what you have during difficult seasons. On the other side of the break, I'll be joined by Chef Shawanna Kennedy to discuss the rising cost of food and practical ways to manage it. And Chicago realtor Cassandra Sneed joins us to discuss the current state of the housing market and what renters and home buyers need to know to navigate housing costs in today's market. Then later in the show, we'll bring the conversation together with a certified financial planner to discuss how to manage your overall budget, protect your financial goals, and stay financially focused even while costs continue to rise. Stay with us.
They say television is about sitting back. We say it's about stepping up. Your block has stories worth telling. Your neighbors have voices worth hearing. Chicago has a heartbeat worth sharing. Stop watching their world. Start showing yours. It's time to tune in and be seen. Can TV, always here, always yours. Experience the power of community television.
Welcome back. My first guests are Chef Shawanna Kennedy and Cassandra Sneed, principal broker of the Aspire Group with Exit Strategy Realty. Welcome to In the Money.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
So glad you guys are here today. We're talking about the rising cost of living, and two of the biggest buckets that are necessities for people are food and housing. So I'm glad that you guys are here to have the conversation and also to give our viewers some tips to navigate these costs right now. So I'll start with you, Chef Shawanna. A lot of people are feeling the sticker shock every time they walk in the grocery store, okay? So from your perspective, what has changed the most about how families need to shop today?
Well, we're definitely feeling the sticker shock with at least a 20% increase in the rising cost of food. I think something that families need to take into perspective is walking into that grocery store with a plan. Because if we don't walk in with a plan, we're liable to spend money that we shouldn't be spending on food.
So when someone is trying to cut food costs, what should they first start with without sacrificing real meals on the table? Because we know sometimes when you go cheaper, sometimes it could not be as good for you. So what are some things that they should do first without sacrificing having real food on the table?
Well, one of the sacrifices I think we should make is the fast food. We think that it's cheaper, or we think that it's more convenient, but in actuality it's not. So I would say start there. I would also say start by picking ingredients that can go across multiple meals. So what I mean by that is I would recommend you get an onion, because you can use that in multiple meals, like with your cabbage. You can use it with your making spaghetti or whatever different things, as opposed to getting an ingredient that can probably go with one meal. Maybe something exotic like a dragon fruit or something like that, that can't spread across many meals. So I would definitely start there.
So speaking of that, what are some staples that you feel like people should, and that are budget friendly too, that they should always keep in their pantry or their fridge, so that they can stretch meals further? I know you mentioned onion, but are there any other staples that they should keep in their stock?
Absolutely. So when you're talking about perishable items, you want to keep things like your milk or your dairy-based products that you want to use. You want to keep things like butter, bread. And when you're talking about your non-perishables, you want to keep things in your pantry like olive oil, honey, maybe sugar, flour, things that you can stretch across multiple meals and that's shelf stable for a while.
Okay, so now let's give them something tangible. What's one realistic challenge viewers can try this week to lower their food spending immediately?
I would say trying the 3-3-3 rule.
Okay.
When you go to the grocery store, try to base your meals off 3 vegetables, 3 proteins, and then your desserts from 3 fruits. So don't forget that when we're dealing with protein, there are plant-based proteins as well, such as nuts, seeds, and beans. So you don't always have to buy that costly meat. And we can also buy those meats in the freezer, or even canned options like our tuna and our salmon are great options for protein as well.
I'll say those are some great tips, and they sound healthy too.
Yes.
So I'm going to come to you now, Cassandra. We know, housing, first of all, it's a necessity. It's one of probably the biggest portions of people's budgets, just in general. And we know right now, housing, there's some pressure right now in the housing market that people are facing. What does the current housing market look like now in Chicago for people that are trying to either rent or buy?
That's actually a great question. What I would say in terms of rentals, I'll start there first. What we're seeing in terms of rentals are increasing rents due to demand. I'll give you an example. The Woodlawn community has seen an increase in their rents due to the Obama Presidential Center. And so what we're finding is that the indigenous people of that community and many communities, due to catalytic development, are starting to see that increase. Yeah.
Wow.
In terms of buying, what I would say is what we're seeing is lack of inventory, right? Lack of move-in ready inventory. And so one of the things that buyers should be aware of are the different options of purchasing a property and rehabbing that property, because we do have inventory for properties that are in need of repair. Okay. However, we don't have a lot of inventory for move-in ready.
This is a question that people always have. So a lot of viewers are maybe wondering, okay, you kind of gave a landscape, but they want to know, should I buy or should I rent right now? Okay, and what factors should they consider when thinking about, should they stay in the rental market or should they move to the buyer's market right now?
One of the things that I always stress to individuals, whether they're looking to rent or buy, is where are you within your budget? Are you able to save up for at least 3 to 6 months of reserves if you want to purchase? Because things come up. Even new construction homes have issues. And so if you get into a home and you've only been able to get into that home due to down payment assistance, but yet you don't have a plan and you don't have those reserves saved up, what happens when the hot water tank goes out? If there's an issue with the roof, down payment assistance does not cover repairs. And so I'm really big on education when it comes to that. Same with renting, right? With renting, have a few months of reserves in advance, because when you rent, you're going to have to present 1 month security, probably first month's rent. Depending on the renter's credit, they might actually need to pay more up front. And so that can be costly as well. So budgeting is the bottom line.
One thing that you just mentioned in one area is rental prices going up based on new development or
Yes.
things coming into the area. So if someone is a renter right now and they're in that in between where they see, okay, the cost of rent is going up, is there one tip or trick that you can provide them when they're going to negotiate that next lease?
I would say when you're going to negotiate that next lease, understand what's on your credit report. Do not wait until you get to the table and you start filling out applications for new rentals, because the one thing that you're going to have to pay consistently are non-refundable applications fees. And so one of the things that I find renters run into when they get extremely frustrated is they find these hiccups on their credit report and they're already $400, $500 in of applications fees and they still haven't found a place to stay. So know what's on your credit.
Know what's on your credit, because that matters too, with how
It
much they
matters.
tell you, or they tell you yes or no, or also
right.
your security deposit.
That's right.
And this will be my last question for you. We see sometimes people getting creative in these types of markets, and this goes for either renting or buying or even maybe investing in the market. Are there some creative ways that people are using housing or housing hacks that they're doing right now to save money on housing or even maybe invest in housing?
Absolutely. So house hacking is one of the biggest tools that a new owner can utilize. House hacking allows the buyer to potentially live in the property, rent out the other open apartment or location, and they're able to get the rental income from that. And so they're not solely responsible for their own mortgage. We saw a lot of leaders of their families unfortunately pass away due to COVID, and single family home ownership struggled because the breadwinner was unfortunately sick or fell ill. So we don't want owners to go into a situation where they're 100% responsible. And there are landlord property management courses out here to really help buyers feel like they have been given the best tools and resources.
Thank you so much, Cassandra and Chef
Thank you.
Shawanna, for joining us today. I hope our viewers are taking notes, especially if they're trying to pull these costs back in their budgets.
Oh, yes.
On the other side of the break, I'll be joined by James Brewer, certified financial planner. Stay with us.
Chicago is a city built on conversation, resilience, and community. And I'm honored to be the new co-host of Chicago Newsroom 2.0, a program committed to helping Chicagoans better understand the issues shaping our city.
At its best, local journalism creates space for people to listen, learn, and connect with one another. That's exactly what we hope this show continues to provide every single week.
From public policy and education,
To neighborhood stories, culture, and civic engagement,
our goal is to bring thoughtful conversations
diverse perspectives,
and trusted information to Chicagoans across the city. Because community television matters.
And so do the voices of the people it serves.
Joining the conversation now is James Brewer, certified financial planner with Envision Wealth Planning. Welcome to In the Money, James.
Well, thanks for having me.
So glad that you are here today to talk about this important topic. People are really trying to navigate the higher cost of living right now. So we're trying to figure out, we talked about in our first segment how to do that with food and in housing. Now we really want to bring it all together and talk about what things to do to manage this in our overall budget. So we know that our budget starts with basically what you bring in and what you pay out. So should people focus more on cutting expenses right now, or should they look at increasing income more right now? And could you give our viewers any ideas, if you say one or the other, of ways to do it?
Well, in every budget, I think we should start with the revenue line or your income. And sometimes you can increase income by ways that you might not have thought about. And one of the first ones I think about is, did you get a tax refund last year? So I looked it up, and there were like 2 sections, but the average return was about $3,600 for some top tier people, $24 for the next tier. Well, break that down to $3,600, $300 a month.
Yeah.
Would that go and make a difference? $200 a month, even if that's what it was, would that make a difference? And for a lot of people, that is the gap that they probably were going to look to close. So I think we should look to those lines. So those are hidden. Well, you have to go and go to your HR, and there's a W-4 form to go fill out and make the adjustments. There's actually some online stuff to help you. Another way to look at it is, well, money is going out in terms of retirement income plans for a lot of people. 401k, 403b might be a Roth. Well, if you're doing Roth savings, then that is coming after tax. If you would switch it and go to pre-tax savings, at least temporarily, because I love Roth, but if you go pre-tax, then that'll bring some more money into your budget as well. It doesn't take you out of saving at all, but it gives you some more money. One caution that I want to give too is that sometimes people feel desperate, and I can understand the desperation. But take a deep breath, and one thing I don't want you to do is to take your 401k and pull all the money out.
Okay.
Because
No,
many
never do
people
that.
miss the fact that there's going to be tax, often, let's say 22%, worst case 37% coming out, plus a 10% penalty if you're under 59 and a half. So, and then it's gone. And you didn't get what you were expecting.
So can you give our viewers some specific ways to cut expenses? Even because we know their costs are high, are there any specific ways in their budget that they can actually cut or look at how they should look at expenses, or in their specific expenses that they may not be thinking about that are slowly eating away at their budget?
Well, one of the things that I recommend that everybody does is, use a electronic budgeting program. You pick the one, I don't care which one you use, whichever one's comfortable to you. But then understand that will help you see what are the line items specifically that are going out. The middle category, so usually it's housing, food, and transportation are the top three. But sometimes people are paying money for, say, parking. I remember a friend of mine didn't know about the parking apps I love, like the Spot Hero and the other kinds. And I saved him $100 on a weekend trip that he had when he came into Chicago. Well, that's $100 in your pocket. So a lot of times people aren't thinking about that. Valet, that's a place where money goes out. There's really not a lot of value unless you really like people to see you coming up. But if you, dress really nice, people probably see you that way too. So I don't think you need to go and do that. But what we want to do is understand expenses that potentially we could go a different way. Even parking. Maybe instead of parking for work, you potentially can go and take public transportation. I know a change for me was I decided to learn public transportation better. Now I really love the Green Line that takes me to my office. So I think there are ways to look, but my monthly pass, I think $75. Monthly parking's probably $350, so that's a big savings. Right? So if you take the refund, that savings, so far we're $600.
Yeah, those are some good tips. So right now, with the cost of living being a little bit higher, a lot of people are feeling guilty because they're not maybe saving or investing as much as they used to. How do you recommend people balance their survival needs, but also their long-term financial goals?
Again, here I'm going to say, let's get comfortable, let's relax. You have to survive because there won't be anything in the future if you don't survive, right? So, but what a lot of people haven't done yet is have a true retirement plan calculation done for them by potentially a certified financial planner, or there's a chartered retirement planning counselor to find out how much money you really need to save. So some people might be under saving, but other people might be saving too much. So if you're saving too much, you can pull back on that expense. I had one client that had some high credit card debt. I recommended that she get out of her 401k plan for 18 months, pay off the credit card debt. Now with that extra money, she could also save more in her retirement, because if you do delay, typically that's going to mean you're going to have to save more in the future. But now she had the extra cash flow in order to go and do that. So we took care of the short-term need, survival, and then we put her on a long-term plan so she would be able to retire comfortably.
Oh, okay. All right. So really quickly, this is my last question. If there is one takeaway from this episode that you would give our viewers if they are trying to manage these higher costs, what would that one takeaway be?
Do the budget, know where your money's going, and then you might find some surprises in the budget of where the money is going, and then those, you can cut out those expenses. But don't forget, hit revenue if you can.
All right. Thank you so much, James. I know that our viewers got some good tips from you today.
All right, thank you very much.
On the other side of the break, Ben Joergens returns with a fresh installment of Money Matters. Stay with us.
CAN TV is the lens through which Chicago's stories are told, harnessing the unifying power of community television. With CAN TV On Demand, immerse yourself in the richness of our city through exclusive stories and programs tailored just for you, connecting you to the heartbeats of our streets, the voices of our people, and the spirit that makes Chicago unique. Discover the strength of your community on CAN TV On Demand.
Here now with this week's installment of Money Matters is Old National Bank's Ben Joergens.
Right now, a lot of people are feeling it. When you go to the grocery store, fill up your gas tank, or pay your bills, it just feels like your money doesn't go as far as it used to. And if you're thinking, I'm doing everything right, why is this so hard? Well, you're not alone. The good news is you don't need a complicated financial plan to start taking control. You just need a few simple steps that actually work in real life. Point one, know where your money is going. First, let's start with awareness. A lot of people feel stuck financially, not because they're doing something wrong, but because they don't clearly see their money where it's going. Here is a simple example. If you spend $10 here and $15 there and $20 somewhere else, it doesn't feel like much, but over a month, that can add hundreds of dollars. So an action step for the next 7 days, just track what you spend. Write it down or use your phone, and you're not judging it, you're just learning from it. Because once you see it, you can start to change it. Point two, focus on the leaks. Next, I look for what I call money leaks. These are small things that don't seem like a big deal, but add up pretty fast. Examples could include subscriptions you forgot about, eating out more than you realized, or buying name brand when store brands probably could have worked just as well. An action step, I want you to pick one thing this week, just to try to cut back. Not everything, just one. Point three, I want you to get smarter with everyday spending. Focus on the areas where we spend the most, groceries, utilities, and gas. And plan your meals before you shop and make a list to reduce impulse buying. I want you to try store brands or buy in bulk items if you use them regularly. And at home, you can lower your utility bills, like with doing small habits of adjusting your thermostat or turning off lights. These small changes add up over time. Point four, build a simple game plan. Financially, have a simple plan for your money. Needs first, housing, food, bills, and then we'll look at wants. Like savings, even if it's small, even small savings can protect you whenever unexpected expenses come up. Even just $20 a week to your savings account will give you over $1,000 a year. And lastly, if you're feeling overwhelmed by the cost of living, here are 3 simple things that you can do starting today. Number one, track what you spend for 1 week. Cut back on one unnecessary expense. And make a plan before you shop or spend. Start small. Managing your money isn't about being perfect, it's about being intentional. And small changes today can create real breathing room tomorrow.
Thanks, Ben. I know our viewers were empowered by all of those tips to help them manage the higher cost of living. So before we go, we got to do a dad joke. So let's do cost of living today.
Yeah, perfect, Tamara. I will tell you, cost of living has gotten so out of control. I think the only place that you can get gas now less than $2 is Taco Bell.
Thanks, Ben. On the other side of the break, this week's Money Moment. Stay with us.
Got something to say about Chicago? Now's your chance to be heard. Chicago Newsroom 2.0 is launching Opinion, a new segment where everyday Chicagoans take the mic. Whether it's a neighborhood issue that's been ignored, a citywide concern that needs attention, or a fresh idea that could change our city, we want to hear from you. Submit your commentary at cantv.org/opinion. If selected, we'll invite you on air to share your perspective with all of Chicago. Experience the power of community television.
The Book of Wisdom says, "Be diligent to know the state of your flocks and attend to your herds." In today's language, that means pay attention to what you have and manage it wisely. And I have to be honest with you. During difficult financial seasons, I lean heavily into both my faith and my financial discipline. I've experienced tough financial seasons personally, and one thing I've learned is this: when life changes, sometimes you have to pivot and make adjustments. Costs are high right now. We all feel it, some more than others. And while we may not be able to control inflation, rising rents, grocery prices, or gas prices, we can control our response. We can pay attention, make wise decisions, and stay intentional about how we manage our money during seasons like this. And in every season, good or bad, what has helped me the most is budgeting through it. A budget tells you what's coming in, what's going out, and where you need to tighten up, and where adjustments need to be made. It helps you stop guessing and start making intentional financial decisions. Because sometimes managing your money well isn't about making one huge change, it's about making smart adjustments little by little. Listen, when gas prices kept climbing, I finally broke down and got a Costco card because gas in my neighborhood was over $7. I had to pivot. I couldn't keep allowing something I couldn't control to quietly drain my money without making changes on my end, because I've got some responsible and fun financial goals this year. And that's the message tonight. Don't ignore the leaks, because when we don't manage the rising costs of everyday life, those extra dollars slowly creep into the money needed for our bigger goals, like getting out of debt, saving, investing, traveling, or simply creating financial peace. The goal is not perfection. The goal is stewardship and progress. So here are your action steps from tonight's episode. Number 1, create or revisit your budget or spending plan. Know exactly what's coming in and what's going out. Number 2, track and tighten. Track your spending and look for areas where you can reduce or tighten costs using the practical strategies shared tonight. Number 3, stay committed to your goals. Don't stop pursuing your financial goals just because this season feels more expensive. You may have to move differently, but you can still move forward. Stay focused, stay intentional, and remember, even in expensive seasons, wise financial decisions still create progress. On the next edition of In the Money, it's the season finale. We're bringing back the fun, some of your favorites from the season, and our live studio audience for Ask the Experts, a personal finance Q&A. And Ben Joergens is back with a fresh installment of Money Matters. In the meantime, if you have any questions about tonight's topic or any financial question, send them to me. Email me at tamara@moneybasicsonline.com or follow me on Instagram at IamMoneyBasics. Also follow my guests on social media. I would love to keep this conversation going, so let's connect. Remember, we are on this journey together to get, stay, and grow in the money. See you next time.